South Ops Fire Weather Webcast for Wednesday, August 13th. I'm your host, Kristen Stewart. The strong area of high pressure that has been draped across the western U.S. this week continues to weaken this morning. As a result, the marine layer has significantly deepened, much more than originally expected. You can see on the visible satellite imagery here that conditions look much more June-like, with coastal low clouds surging across all of the coastal plains and into many of the valleys. These low clouds will be more sluggish to clear than they have been lately, but abundant sunshine is expected by the afternoon. Above the marine layer, you can also see the smoke plume coming off the Gifford fire, which remains quite active this morning. The main weather story for this week will be the weakening high pressure and associated cooling temperatures. The strong area of high pressure that is draped across the western U.S. and that has brought hot temperatures to the region will weaken through the rest of this week. Meanwhile, a Pacific trough will take its place and hang around through the weekend. This will lead to a much-needed pattern change with cooling temperatures, increasing humidity, and a deeper marine layer. As high pressure begins to break down today, temperatures are expected to cool down several degrees, especially across the coastal areas. It will still remain quite warm and summer-like overall, with highs in the 90s to near 100 across the valleys, around 110 to 115 across the low desert, and mid-80s for the inland coastal plains. Despite the slight cooling, humidity will remain low today, as the large-scale weather pattern is not changing that much yet. Minimums will likely range in the single digits and teens above and inland from the marine layer, with continued fair to poor overnight recoveries across the mid and upper level elevations as well as the deserts. The weakening high pressure will likely bring an increase in winds over the next couple days. The pattern is not a classic ridge breakdown that would produce any critical winds over the region, but there will be enhanced breeziness nonetheless that may cause some problems. The main concern will be for enhanced north to northwest winds favoring the higher terrain from the central coast to the Mojave slopes, especially across the western Santa Ynez Range through the Interstate 5 corridor. Gusts of 25 to 45 miles an hour will be likely over these areas through Thursday, with potentially higher gusts in the 50-mile-an-hour range over localized windier spots. Today will have the best overlap of lingering warm temperatures and low humidity with these breezy winds, which will serve to keep fire potential elevated. Fire potential will lower some tomorrow as temperatures cool further and humidity improves despite the breezy winds. Temperatures will continue to steadily cool through Saturday, with highs returning to around 5 degrees below seasonal normals. As we check out the forecast high temperatures for Saturday, most valleys will likely cool down into the mid-80s to low 90s, the low desert around 105, and the lower mountains and inland coastal plains in the 70s to low 80s. Humidity will increase slightly into the 12 to 25% range away from the marine layer on Thursday, and potentially 15 to 30% Friday through the weekend as the Pacific troughing pattern takes over. The deserts and higher Southern California peaks will of course remain drier, with upper single digits and teens. The marine layer is also expected to deepen substantially late this week, with night through morning low clouds extending into the coastal valleys and maybe even making a run at the coastal slopes. Aside from the breezy north to northwest winds today and Thursday, winds will primarily follow typical patterns with occasional breeziness in the typical wind-prone mountain and desert areas through the period. Combined with the cooler temperatures and increasing humidity, late this week into the weekend looks like a pretty low-impact weather pattern with gradually decreasing fire potential. The incoming Pacific troughing pattern will bring an increase in lift and instability, leading to the potential for isolated shower and thunderstorm activity across the Sierra over the next few days, most likely occurring today and Thursday. Any storm should be slow-moving and wet, with minimal concern for significant fire activity, especially amidst the cooling temperatures, though a couple of new high elevation ignitions are possible with any lightning strikes. The refreshing, cooler, and more humid weather pattern will not last long, as model projections indicate that high pressure is likely to rebuild over the Four Corners early next week. Projections indicate that high pressure will begin to expand back into California by Tuesday and remain in place through next week. A slow increase in temperatures is likely across the region early next week, along with a gradual reduction in the marine layer depth and lowering of humidity back to more typical levels. The positioning of the high pressure next week over the Four Corners is much more conducive to monsoon activity returning to Southern California, so there may be an increased risk in thunderstorm activity the latter half of next week, though confidence remains low at this time and we can't get into any details yet. The large fire threat will remain elevated today as conditions remain warm and dry and locally breezy, before a more substantial cooling trend begins tomorrow. Active burning conditions are expected during the daytime hours, along with the potential for well-established fires to burn actively at night due to areas of poor humidity recovery. The locally breezy winds today will also be a concern for increased spread and spotting potential. Fire concerns will gradually decrease through the weekend with the cooling temperatures and deepening marine layer, bringing large fire potential to trend below seasonal normal levels. Right now, this looks like a short-term reprieve, with hotter weather returning by the middle of next week, along with the potential for lightning. But this should be a nice break in the weather to help with containment on existing fires and reduce the risk of new ones. Expect moderate initial attack activity to continue today, then we'll trend lighter by late this week. And that's all I have for today. Thanks for tuning in. Our next webcast will be on Thursday, August 14th. Have a fantastic day.